Switzerland might be one of the most beautiful countries on Earth. Turquoise lakes, snow-covered mountains, tiny villages surrounded by waterfalls, trains passing through the Alps, and landscapes that honestly don't even look real. But there's a catch. Switzerland is also famous for being incredibly expensive. We're talking expensive hotels, expensive restaurants, expensive trains, and sometimes prices that make you wonder if that mountain view is really worth emptying your wallet. So here's the question. Is Switzerland really worth visiting in 2026? Today we're going to find out. We're talking about the most beautiful places to visit, how expensive Switzerland really is, the famous Swiss trains, food you need to try, tourist mistakes to avoid, and some incredible places that people completely skip. And stay until the end, because I'll tell you whether I think Switzerland actually deserves a spot on your European bucket list, or whether your money would be better spent somewhere else. Welcome back to Oops, I Traveled. Let's get started. The first thing you need to understand about Switzerland is that the country is actually pretty small. But somehow, it feels like there is something incredible around every corner. You can wake up beside a lake, take a train into the mountains, have lunch overlooking a glacier, and be back in a beautiful city by evening. And that's one of Switzerland's biggest advantages. Getting around is incredibly easy. But we'll talk about those famous Swiss trains and how much they can cost a little later. First, let's start with one of the country's most famous cities, Zurich. Zurich is often where travelers first arrive, and it's exactly what you might expect from Switzerland. Clean streets, beautiful buildings, organized transportation, and Lake Zurich sitting right beside the city. The Old Town is one of the best areas to explore. You'll find narrow streets, colorful buildings, cafes, churches, and small shops everywhere. And because Zurich is so walkable, you can see a lot without constantly taking transportation. But here's the truth about Zurich. It's beautiful. But if you only have a few days in Switzerland, I wouldn't spend all of them here. Because the Switzerland you've probably seen all over TikTok, Instagram, and travel videos is waiting further into the country. And that's where things get seriously beautiful. Let's talk about Lucerne. Lucerne looks like someone designed the perfect Swiss city for a postcard. You have a gorgeous lake, mountains in the background, historic buildings, and the famous Chapel Bridge crossing the water. Walking through the Old Town is one of those experiences where you constantly stop to take pictures. But what makes Lucerne even better is its location. You can use the city as a base for incredible mountain trips. Mount Pilatus is nearby, and getting there can become an adventure on its own. You can combine boats, trains, cable cars, and mountain railways to reach viewpoints high above the city. And when the weather is clear, the views are unbelievable. But here's something important. Check the weather before spending a lot of money going up a mountain. This sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people pay for an expensive mountain excursion only to arrive at the top and see clouds. Nothing else. Just clouds. Mountain weather can change quickly, so if your schedule is flexible, choose the clearest day. Now let's head toward one of the most famous regions in Switzerland, Interlaken. Interlaken sits between two beautiful lakes and is surrounded by mountains. The town itself is nice, but the real reason people stay here is because it's an incredible base for exploring the surrounding area. And this is where you'll find one of the most beautiful places in the entire country, Lauterbrunnen. If you've seen videos of Switzerland online, you've probably already seen this valley. Huge mountains rise on both sides. Waterfalls drop from cliffs. Traditional Swiss houses sit in green fields, and snow-covered peaks appear in the distance. It almost doesn't look real. Staubach Falls drops from a massive cliff right beside the village, and it's one of the most recognizable views in Switzerland. But Lauterbrunnen isn't just somewhere to take one photo and leave. Walk through the valley, rent a bike, visit nearby waterfalls. Take your time, because this is exactly the kind of place where rushing completely ruins the experience. From Lauterbrunnen, you can also travel up to villages like Wengen and Mürren. And here's something amazing about Mürren. It's essentially car-free. You arrive using mountain transportation, and once you're there, you're surrounded by incredible alpine scenery. Imagine waking up, opening your window, and seeing the Swiss Alps directly in front of you. That's the Switzerland people dream about. But we're not done, because nearby is Grindelwald. And no, not the character from Harry Potter. Grindelwald is a beautiful mountain village surrounded by dramatic peaks. During winter, it's a major skiing destination. During summer, it becomes perfect for hiking, mountain activities, and scenic cable car rides. One of the most popular areas is Grindelwald First. You can take a gondola high into the mountains and then hike, enjoy viewpoints, or try different activities. And if you're feeling adventurous, Switzerland has no shortage of ways to scare yourself. Paragliding, mountain coasters, suspension bridges, cliff walks, zip lines. There are plenty of options. But this is also where your budget can disappear very quickly. Which brings us to the thing everyone wants to know. How expensive is Switzerland really? The short answer? Very. Switzerland is definitely one of Europe's more expensive destinations. Hotels can easily become one of the biggest parts of your budget. Restaurants can also be shocking if you're used to prices in countries like Spain, Portugal, or Italy. Even something as simple as grabbing lunch can add up quickly. But that doesn't mean Switzerland is only for luxury travelers. There are ways to save money. One of the easiest is supermarkets. Instead of eating every meal at a restaurant, grab sandwiches, salads, fruit, pastries, or snacks from a supermarket. And honestly, having a picnic beside a Swiss lake with the Alps in the background might be more memorable than sitting inside an expensive restaurant anyway. You can also stay outside the most famous tourist villages. Accommodation in places like Zermatt or central Interlaken can get expensive, especially during peak season. Staying slightly further away and using public transportation can sometimes save you a lot. And that brings us to Switzerland's famous transportation system. This might be one of the best things about traveling here. Swiss trains are known for being clean, comfortable, and incredibly scenic. And in many cases, the train isn't just transportation. It's part of the experience. There are famous scenic routes like the Glacier Express and Bernina Express, where the journey itself becomes one of the highlights of your trip. You pass mountains, valleys, bridges, lakes, and tiny villages while sitting comfortably inside the train. But train tickets can get expensive. Depending on your itinerary, transportation passes may save you money, especially if you're planning to take lots of trains, boats, buses, or mountain transportation. Before automatically buying a pass, though, calculate what your individual trips would cost. The best option depends completely on where you're going. Now let's talk about another destination you absolutely need to know about: Zermatt. Zermatt is home to one of the most recognizable mountains in the world, the Matterhorn. You know that dramatic mountain peak you see on postcards and chocolate packaging? That's it. Zermatt itself is a beautiful mountain village. And like Mürren, regular car traffic is heavily restricted. You walk through streets surrounded by wooden chalets, restaurants, hotels, and incredible mountain scenery. One of the best experiences is taking the train up to Gornergrat. As you climb higher, the views become more dramatic until you're surrounded by mountains and glaciers. And on a clear day, seeing the Matterhorn from up there is something you'll remember forever. But Zermatt comes with one major warning. It's expensive. Very expensive. Hotels, restaurants, and mountain activities can quickly turn Zermatt into one of the most expensive parts of your trip. If it's a dream destination, I still think it's worth considering. Just plan your budget before you arrive. Now, there's another side of Switzerland that doesn't get nearly as much attention online. The cities. We've already talked about Zurich and Lucerne, but there's also Bern. Bern is Switzerland's capital, and it feels completely different from Zurich. The historic center is filled with beautiful stone buildings, covered walkways, fountains, and the famous Zickglocke clock tower. The city sits around a bend in the Aare River, giving you beautiful views from several points around town. Bern feels relaxed. It's the kind of place where you don't need a huge itinerary. Walk around, explore the old town, sit by the river, grab something from a bakery, and simply enjoy the city. Then there's Geneva. Located beside Lake Geneva and close to France, Geneva has a more international atmosphere. It's home to major global organizations and is known for its beautiful lakefront. But once again, if you have limited time, I'd personally prioritize the mountains and smaller towns. Because that's where Switzerland really becomes unforgettable. Now, let's talk about the food. Obviously, we need to start with Swiss chocolate. Yes, it's famous for a reason. You'll find chocolate shops everywhere, and trying local chocolate is basically required. But Switzerland is also famous for cheese. Fondue is probably the dish everyone knows. Melted cheese served in a pot where you dip pieces of bread. It's simple, warm, comforting, and especially amazing during colder weather. Then there's raclette. Cheese is melted and scraped over potatoes, usually served with pickles and other sides. If you love cheese, Switzerland might be dangerous for you. Another dish to try is rösti. It's made with grated potatoes cooked until crispy and can be served alone or alongside other foods. And of course, different regions have their own specialties. That's because Switzerland has several major language and cultural regions. German, French, Italian, and Romansh are all national languages. Travel from one part of the country to another and you may notice the architecture, food, and atmosphere changing. That's another reason Switzerland feels so interesting despite being relatively small. Now let's talk about the best time to visit. This depends entirely on what you want to do. If you want green valleys, hiking, lakes, and long days outdoors, summer is incredible. But July and August are also among the busiest periods. Popular destinations can become crowded, and accommodation prices may be higher. Late spring and early autumn can be great alternatives. You'll often find fewer tourists, although mountain weather can be less predictable and some seasonal activities may not be operating. If you're coming for skiing and snow-covered villages, winter completely transforms the country. Places like Zermatt and Grindelwald look magical covered in snow. And then there are the Christmas markets. Swiss cities become beautifully decorated during the holiday season, creating an entirely different type of trip. Now let's talk about the mistakes you should avoid. The first is trying to visit too many places. Switzerland looks tiny on a map. That doesn't mean you should change hotels every night. Choose a few bases and explore from there. You'll spend less time carrying luggage and more time actually enjoying your vacation. The second mistake is ignoring the weather, especially in the mountains. If the main reason you're spending money on a cable car is the view, check visibility first. The third mistake is assuming every expensive attraction is automatically worth it. Switzerland has plenty of incredible experiences, but you don't need to take every mountain railway or cable car. Choose the ones that matter most to you. The fourth mistake? Only visiting Zurich and saying you've seen Switzerland. Zurich is beautiful, but Switzerland's mountains, lakes, valleys, and villages are what make the country truly special. And finally, don't forget that some of the best experiences in Switzerland are completely free. Walking through Lauterbrunnen Valley, sitting beside a lake, exploring an old town, hiking through the mountains, watching the sunset. Sometimes the free moments are better than the attractions you paid $100 to visit. So, after all of that, is Switzerland really worth visiting in 2026? I think the answer is yes, but with one condition. You need to plan your budget. Switzerland isn't the destination I'd recommend if your number one goal is traveling as cheaply as possible. There are other European countries where your money will go much further. But if you've always dreamed of seeing the Alps, exploring beautiful mountain villages, riding scenic trains, swimming in clear lakes, and seeing landscapes that genuinely make you stop and stare, Switzerland is hard to beat. There are places where the reality doesn't quite match the pictures you see online. Switzerland is often the opposite. Sometimes you arrive and realize the pictures didn't even capture how beautiful it actually is. Imagine standing in Lauterbrunnen with waterfalls falling from cliffs around you, seeing the Matterhorn appear between the clouds, riding a train beside a turquoise lake, walking through a quiet alpine village early in the morning. Those are the moments you're paying for. And for many travelers, they're worth every penny. So yes, Switzerland really is worth visiting in 2026. Just maybe don't check your bank account until you get home. If you've been to Switzerland before, tell me your favorite place in the comments. And if you haven't, tell me which place you'd visit first: Lauterbrunnen, Zermatt, Lucerne, Interlaken, or somewhere else. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next destination. We've got plenty more countries to explore, honest travel guides, hidden gems, and things you need to know before booking your next trip. Thank you so much for watching. And until the next adventure.